Ralph, we're back and we've got some good news. PSA grading capacity is expanding here soon. News hit the internet over the last couple of days that PSA shop over in Frankfurt, Germany is going to be opening up here mid-July and in full force by August.
Yeah.
Also, Collect.com reported that 30% of all PSA submissions are international submissions. So I'm sure a lot of these are out in Asia, but we also have European submissions that have been shipped over to the US. Think about all the submissions, in particular the Fanatics collectible store that's in London. That's a PSA submission center, if I remember correctly. So all the European submissions have been coming all the way over here to the US to then be sorted and graded. Wheels are turning, my friends. I know not good news when we don't have value submission options. Totally get it. I'm not gonna sit here and say that I'm excited about that. I am sending some cards in at the regular, that $79 option. But of course, at the $79 option, there's just a lot of cards that are cut out of where it makes sense to send in for grading. For me, minimum price on a card is $400 or $500 at a minimum if I'm sending it in regular. I also have to figure out if the timing makes sense. For a lot of cards, it might just be worthwhile getting some really nice raw cards and waiting. I know there's a lot of commenters that have come in and said, you know what, I don't think that they're going to be back up and running for a year. You know, some viewers are like, this is going to take a lot longer than kind of 4-month projection that PSA had factored in when they made the announcement. We're already halfway through 2026, believe it or not. I think that as we get into 2027, they are going to be rocking and rolling. I think there's a lot of things, there's a lot of moving parts right now, but I do think that when we get into 2027, Jan 2027, we are going to be in really good shape. Keep in mind, at least for the next probably couple of years, they're going to have a decent sized backlog. But as that capacity increases, that's the thing to watch. They just want a backlog that's down to 5 million cards, which 5 years ago, if you had said, oh, we just need to get it down to 5 million cards, you'd be like, oh my God, we're in big trouble. But they're grading upwards of 2.2, 2.3 million cards every month now. And that monthly capacity has gone up dramatically over time. Now, some people would say like it should have gone up faster. They should have already hired all these people ahead of time. Totally get it. Hindsight is 2020. The truth is that it's only been the last 18 months when this Pokemon card boom for grading has happened. Now, I remember going back a couple years where I was like, man, I think that Pokemon is going to be, I remember saying this going back 2 or 3 years ago, I think that Pokemon and sports are going to be 50-50 at some point. There was a point going back a few years ago where it was, you know, sports was 2/3 and TCG was 1/3, but you could kind of see TCG was slowly gaining ground. And then Prismatic Evolutions came out. That was a set that came out, what, about 18 months ago? Has it been 2 years, 18 months? Time flies. But that was the set that kick-started what we have now. We have Prismatic and then kind of every set afterward getting into Mega Evolution sets. Now you're just seeing a lot of grading. The TCG takeover of grading has not always been the case. And maybe they thought that it was temporary. Okay, we got a big release in Prismatic Evolutions, couple big releases, and then it goes back to normal for TCG, and it just never did. And frankly, a lot of people look at those numbers and they say, oh wow, you know, look at all the cards that are being graded TCG compared to sports. You know, sports is waning compared to TCG. Sports isn't waning. There's just a lot of people that are on the sidelines for their sports cards, for certain sports cards, because they just don't want to pay $25 or $30 for grading, or they're not going to pay now kind of that $79 for the regular service. There's a lot of sports cards just on the sidelines for the hope of kind of that cheaper grading. We will get back to the value tiers. We will. I know a lot of people are like, hey, this is it. This is how it's going to be. We're going to have regular. From here on out, it's going to be $80 to grade a card forever. I just don't believe that to be the case. I think they're going to go back to value, and I think inevitably, over time, PSA is going to be grading 3 to 4 million cards a month. Assuming the hobby stays as hot as it is, you've got TCG and you've got sports, I think that there's enough demand there. I mean, look, if you had $20 grading at PSA and you had the capacity to be able to handle it, there would be 3 to 4 million cards a month. Put that price at $20 for TCG and for sports for 90-day turnaround on bulk. There would be 3 to 4 million cards a month as it sits, I believe. We'll have to see how it goes, but this is good news that we've got this new shop opening up here in Germany. More facilities opening, of course, means higher capacities. They're going to hire more people. They've stated it, $200 million going into the infrastructure. All of this is going to happen, but the big question, and I guess the biggest question is, how many more people come into the hobby? How many more people want to grade? You know, what are those numbers looking like at the $79 regular service? I mean, I think for a lot of people, they're like, who the hell is sending in cards at $79 for the regular service? And for me, I'm extremely picky. I've got a handful in there now. I've got more that I want to send in, but I've just kind of changed the strategy a little bit. but there also could be a decent amount of people that are sending in cards at that $80 level. We don't really know. Now, will it touch what it is at the $25, $30 bulk rates, the value stuff? I just don't see them getting that sort of volume. And we'll see how this plays out over the next few months. I've got over 100 cards there now. A lot of Tyler Shuck cards over there at PSA. And we'll see how those grades go. Am I going to get absolutely smashed? Am I going to get a few 10s, hopefully? I also have a Beckett submission where it says there the label has been printed. So we're close to shipped. I've got 7 Tyler Shuck, either National Treasures, Flawless. Oh, and I also have I have a Drew Brees card, and I also have a really sweet, exquisite Joe Flacco auto patch card. It's awesome. So I will share that submission when I get it back. Hopefully Beckett doesn't absolutely drill me on those grades. We'll see. It's going to be fun. Now let's turn the camera around and look at some of the hottest cards on eBay in the PSA eBay store. I'll be right back. Friends, welcome back to another weekly hottest sports cards on eBay in the PSA eBay store. There is a wicked spotlight auction right now, so make sure to check this out at the PSA eBay store on eBay. Remember, when you grade cards, you can send them all home if you want. You can send them all to the PSA vault. You might even get PSA partner offers on some of these cards, and you can mix and match. You can send half of them home, half of them to the PSA vault, and sell them on eBay later. All sorts of different liquidity options through the PSA eBay store when you're grading cards. And then, of course, even buying cards on eBay. Instead of sending them home, you can send them to the PSA vault, save on sales tax in many cases doing this, and then you can just resell them later. Some cards are PC cards. You want them home. Other cards, they might be flip cards for you. You don't necessarily need to send them home and then list them on eBay and do all of the stuff. Makes it very easy through the PSA eBay store and through PSA grading. Don't forget to get $25 off that first submission over at PSA with the SCD25 code at the shipping and billing screen. Tell all your friends so they can save money on that first submission. All right, let's take a look at some of these cards that are in the spotlight auction. I own a copy of this card, so I am watching this one very closely. It is the 84 star. It's the 195, the Olympic card, the famous Olympic card for Michael Jordan. There's 4 kind of main cards for that star set. Now there's subsets and different things, but for that main 84 star set, you've got the 101, you've got the 195, you've got the Court Kings, and you've got the Rookie of the Year card. There's 4 main cards. This is one of them. And these cards have just become more and more popular as really the Michael Jordan market as a whole has gotten absolutely nuts. But then also when you look at cards that were printed in the 80s, we all know most of it printed quite a bit. Star cards, not so much when compared to other sets. It's an interesting set. This particular set came out during his rookie season, and so popularity has risen for this particular card. Next, we've got a card that I would love to own. It's the babyface sniper, Steph Curry, his rookie 2009 Topps. This is the gold version, numbered to 2009. This is kind of a unique one because it's a PSA 7.5. It's one of those half grades. Keep in mind, there's 2009 of these, but the total PSA pop so far for this card is 541. So not a lot of these have been graded or found, really, for that matter. This was during a time when basketball cards, not super popular in 2009, which presents a really cool opportunity, I think, for Steph Curry collectors. This one ends on Saturday night coming up, so make sure to action this one. Currently at $6,000.01 at time of recording, but this is kind of one of those all-time cards. The gold out of 2009. It's hard for us not to talk Wemby. You know, he's in the finals. They just gave up a huge loss to the Knicks where they were up by, 20-plus points, and the Knicks tip it in at the buzzer, basically, to win that game. Unbelievable. This card, this one hurts my feelings because I remember that when this was a $200 card all day. It's just a base Prism PSA 10. And yes, there are almost 50,000 of these that have been graded. There's 27,000 PSA 10s. This is like a 50% gem rate, and the price on these has still gone bonkers. If you look over the last 3 months, we're at about a $300 sale if we're looking at medium price. The last one sold at $400. This one got all the way up to $500, I think is where it topped out. Now it's looking like the Spurs are in trouble. Their backs are against the wall. Can they win 3 in a row and win this series in 7? It's possible. It certainly is possible. The Knicks look to be a team of destiny, though. They look to just be a team of destiny. Their fan base deserves a championship. I'm not a fan of New York sports or anything, but I like the storyline. I like Brunson. I like Cat. You know, it's like there's not guys on this team where I'm just like, oh, I can't stand these players. And I think the Spurs are going to be back. You know, the Spurs are a very young team, talented team. I think they need one more vet in there, kind of a veteran presence, just to kind of guide that ship a little bit, especially during times like what we saw in this last finals game where they blew it, just to be blunt. But this is an example of a team that will be back. So anyway, we've got this card now sitting at $425 with a day and 11 hours to go. It ends on Saturday evening. These are very plentiful, very plentiful. So there's a lot of volatility with this sort of card because very available, not scarce, but also it's a way for people to get in, especially at a PSA 10, to get into a Wemby card, kind of a flagship rookie card for Wemby, without spending, a fortune on an auto card for him or some sort of parallel. They're all expensive. This is that Prism base flagship rookie card. Where will it end? Next up, we've got a 2025 Topps Finest. The Shedeur Sanders Superfractor 1/1 is at auction right now. Ends on Saturday night, and it graded out a PSA 10. I want to get some of this Topps Finest stuff for my guy, Tyler Shuck. I've spent a lot on Tyler Shuck for various different products. So I'm kind of on a little bit of a, let's hold, on Shuck. But Shedeur Sanders kind of one of those guys that's flying under the radar a lot. Most of what's being talked about for QBs is really Cam Ward and Jackson Dart, with Tyler Shuck being a distant third, and then Shedeur is in the mix there too. But I just have to assume people are believing that, hey, I can't bet big money on a Browns QB. It just seems like Cleveland is where QBs go to die. Bernie Kosar, I think, was the last guy there in Cleveland that really had success. And that was 35 years ago now. And sustained success where he played multiple seasons. I know there's been kind of one-off years for QBs in Cleveland. I don't want to take that away, but it's been a while. And so I think many probably look at Shedeur as like, here's the next guy that's just going to end up being on another team at some point, like Baker Mayfield is, or some of these other guys. Can he turn the corner? Is he going to be somebody that's the cornerstone for a franchise? And who knows? Look, maybe this guy pops off in Cleveland and he is the savior of the Cleveland Browns. Have to see how it shakes out this season. All right, we have to give some love over to the New York Knicks. Jalen Brunson. This is a cool card. This is unlicensed. So this is unlicensed, but this is kind of like those Wemby cards. They were unlicensed, but they were just cool autos. 2023 Topps Chrome Brunson. It's the 1972 Topps throwback. Love the design of this card. It's the gold version out of 50, and it is currently at $600 at time of recording. Also ends on Saturday night, but what we're seeing is just a lot of movement on Jalen Brunson cards. He has been just the man, and really in the playoffs, but especially in this series as well. Let's also pull up one of his, I think, more attainable rookie cards here, Blue Velocity, and it's a nice color match with his Mavs jersey going back to when he was playing out there with Luka and those guys in Dallas. PSA 10, $335 with a day and 12 hours to go Saturday evening. If we look at some of the insights on this card, this is a card that's probably moved up quite a bit. Yeah, the last sale at $550, but if we go back, let's go back a year ago, $160. So, if you just had these a year ago, these are these are four times, almost four times where they were going back in time. And this is pretty plentiful. If we go to the pop report, they're not so plentiful. Excuse me. There are 196 10s, 78 9s, but I thought there was a lot more of these graded, but nope, not for Brunson. Not for Brunson. There's about 200 of these in a PSA 10. So there you go. Time of recording, $335. Last sale is about $500. If they win a title, does it go up further, or is it kind of baked in now with some of these prices? We will have to see. And we've got World Cup, friends. World Cup has begun. Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo are playing in what's a record six straight World Cups. This will be the last one for Ronaldo. He's announced. I assume it's the last one for Messi, but hell, who knows? These guys just figure it out. But we've got a huge kaboom here from Donruss Road to FIFA World Cup 2026 product, the Kaboom PSA 8. There are 16 total on the population. Are there any 9s and 10s? Let's see. No, let's look at so there's 6 10s. There's 4 9s. This is one of the 3 8s, and it's sitting at $5,000 ends tonight. That is wild to me. Wow. There are 10 cards graded higher than this one, and this one's sitting at 5 Gs. Wow. That's unbelievable. Let's look at the other guy, the defending champ, not necessarily a kaboom, but I believe that there is a kaboom for Messi in this spotlight auction as well. but this is going back to one of the more vintage Messi cards, 2004, not the rookie. It's not the mega cracks. This is the Monday Chromo Liga Lionel Messi PSA 8, 2150 currently, ends on Saturday night. Let's see where the pricing has been for this. So yeah, we've got last sold at about $3,000, and this one is sitting at 2150. Okay, so this one has kind of been in line. It looks like it's headed to where that last one sold, but who knows? Maybe it goes higher. We will have to see how the thing plays out with the World Cup going on here. And I will be in New York Fanatics Fest for the World Cup final. It's happening at the same time as the World Cup final. So the next 30 days are going to be fun, guys. Next 30, 40 days going to be fun for sport and the football, the European football, global football. Friends, have an amazing day ahead. Don't forget to get that $25 off your first PSA submission with the SCD25 code, and I will see you again on the next one.